welcome to the Hoop Break YouTube channel. If you guys found me from my Instagram, be sure to leave a comment. And then if you guys haven't followed me on Instagram already, like, what are you doing? Go follow me on Instagram. I post in-depth analysis of different teams, and I'm going to do some player analysis in the off-season too. So be sure to follow me on there for more great content. And today I'm going to actually be asking or answering a big question that a lot of people on my Instagram page have had. I've had DMs, comments saying, yo, how far are the Rockets going? Is this small ball lineup gonna work? Are they true contenders? And I'm gonna be going over some of the pros and cons of this Rockets lineup, and eventually I'm gonna be talking about whether they can win a first round series against OKC. Let's get it. Rockets offense has been stellar. It's super high power offense. They have plenty of shooters, and they rank 4th in the NBA in offensive rating. And honestly, a player who I didn't know that would thrive in the Rockets system, but really has looked good in their system and pleasantly surprised me, is Russell Westbrook. He's had the most efficient year of his career at 47% from the field, and although his three-point percentage is like horrendous, it's like 25%, Mike D'Antoni's talked a lot of sense into him, and he hasn't attempted less threes than he has this season since the 2012-2013 season, which is really good news, because Russell Westbrook is not a player on your team you want shooting threes. So another thing about the Rockets offense is when they get hot, they can take over a game like that. They have so many players that can light it up on any given night. Whether it's like James Harden or Russell Westbrook, it's usually them because, you know, they're the stars. It can also be guys like Austin Rivers, who dropped 41 against Sacramento, or Jeff Green, who dropped 22 against Portland. And honestly, only a few guys need to really heat up for the Rockets to drop 130, 140 every night. A guy on the Rockets who's honestly been very overlooked and very, very effective, especially on the defensive end, is Robert Covington. If you guys follow my TikTok, I already made a TikTok about his impact, but he's averaged 1.6 blocks per game and 2.6 steals per game in the bubble. He's been all over the floor defensively, and he's easily one of the most versatile defenders in the league. Because here's the thing about Robert Covington. He's big, he's strong, he's quick, and he's fast, and he plays really hard defense. That's all you need in a defender. Those are literally all the keys to being a great defensive player. That combination allows him to switch easily and guard many positions. So let's say, for example, a point guard is let's say Damian Lillard gets a screen from Nurkic. He can cover Lillard on a drive and block his shot or contest it well, or he can pick up Nurkic on the roll and disrupt any pass that goes to Nurkic. Let's just go over a couple players that he's limited offensively in the bubble. When he guarded Luka Doncic when the Rockets played the Mavs, Luka went 2 for 8 in the fourth quarter in OT. When he guarded Chris Middleton, I think he went 1 for 5 in the fourth quarter. When he guarded Dame had his worst game in the bubble. He went 6 for 19. And when the Rockets played against the Lakers, AD had 17 points and 7 turnovers, and that was largely due to Robert Covington's great defense. When watching the Rockets in the bubble, one thing I really noted was that Westbrook and Harden have looked to be in really good shape, and they actually played some pretty good defense at the end of some games. I think it was the Mavericks-Rockets game that in OT, Harden and Westbrook just were like, man, we're just going to clamp up now. And, you know, they won the game. They played pretty good defense, and I was pleasantly surprised with how they played in that game. However, they're still far from being good defenders, and if you want to go far in the playoffs, you can't just play defense in the end of games. You have to be playing hard defense throughout the whole game. The Rockets overall are 4-1 in the bubble in games that both Westbrook and Harden played, including impressive wins against the Lakers and Bucks. I think that's really important because the Rockets had to get used to this small ball lineup, and it looks like they actually have gotten used to it, and that's the first step to actually winning with it. So hopefully they can carry some of that momentum in the playoffs and make a splash. However, with the advantages of small ball comes disadvantages. And first I'm going to be talking about how even though the Rockets have a deep backcourt, losing Westbrook for part of the first round will be really detrimental to their team. For all the hate that Westbrook gets, you can't deny that he's one of the best in the league at finishing around the rim, and he's great at creating opportunities for his teammates. Let me just run you through like a common play for Westbrook. Westbrook drives right down the middle. He's great at finishing around the rim, and everyone knows that, so defenders are collapsing on him from all different angles. However, Westbrook has some pretty good court vision, so he's good at finding guys like Macklemore and House and Eric Gordon open for wide open threes that they're going to hit 7 out of 10 times. so he can really kickstart an offense and get his teammates involved. Another interesting thing about this Rockets team that's really not that great for them, that most people don't know, is that although they attempt by far the most threes in the league, they rank 21st in three-point efficiency. So basically, if a team comes along with a couple good defending guards and they play the Rockets and severely limit James Harden and other Rocket shooters, the Rockets could have serious issues offensively. And once they start having issues offensively, they're probably going to lose a game because their defense just isn't really up to par with most playoff teams. Another thing I realized, especially with the small ball rotation, is that it's seen quite a bit of success in the regular season, but it really may be a different story in the postseason, because in the regular season, teams don't have the time to game plan and create plays for every single team they play. However, teams they face in the playoffs will have time to look at plenty of film and draw up plays that exploit Houston's lack of height. One thing I expect to see a lot of from the opposing teams when they play the Rockets are off-ball screens for their bigs along the baseline. Because if a good screen is set, then a smaller guy will have to cover the big. Let me just give you an example. Let's say an off-ball screen is set for Porzingis, right? Let's say Tim Hardaway sets a screen for Porzingis. And then let's say Covington is guarding Porzingis. If Covington doesn't get around that screen and back to Porzingis in no time seamlessly, then Porzingis is going to have either an easy bucket because no one will be guarding him, or Ben McLemore will have to cover him, which will also be a pretty easy bucket. And I think realistically, they're going to give up a lot of buckets like those. They just really have to figure out how to limit them and make sure teams just don't completely pick them apart with those kind of plays, which could definitely happen. I think the last area where the Rockets are going to have serious trouble is their perimeter defense. Because the Rockets have two stars in James Harden and Russell Westbrook. They're both guards and they're both below average defenders. They often lack effort on ball and they get lazy on switches too. So I think this could allow a team with quick guards to get easy drives to the rim off good screens, or it could allow teams with good shooters to get open threes off picks. I think pick and pops could be especially deadly against this Rockets team, because pick and pops force the defense to be very alert and make very quick decisions on like who's covering who and call the switches. However, if Harden and Westbrook are just a little bit slow to get to their man, you know, a shooter could have a wide open three. So in this video, I basically laid out all the points and allowed you to decide for yourself if you think
the Rockets are contenders after learning all this information.
However, I'm going to be talking about like the actual matchups in the Rockets OKC series. I'm going to be doing an in-depth analysis of what I think is going to happen in that series and give a prediction. And that should be coming out in the next couple days, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, that's about it. Peace.